Hello everyone and happy Tuesday. This video is a little bit late today because our front porch was being redone this morning and it's right outside my window and it was so loud that you couldn't hear anything. So I figured I could just do it this afternoon. So I wanted to talk a little bit about why things and why that next thing won't make you happy. So those of you that follow me on social know that I took a course, The Science of Happiness, from Yale. They have an online class. It's totally free, so I highly suggest you go check it out. But they showed us a lot of studies to prove everything that they found, and this one was about what's called hedonic adaptation, in that psychologically we are wired to become dissatisfied with whatever we have and satisfied by only what we don't have or the next thing. So we're constantly upgrading what we need to be happy. And the idea is that the course was supposed to show us different ways that would actually make us happier instead of what we thought would make us happier. And the class was obviously Yale undergrads, and they said they would be happy if their grades were really good at the end of the semester. But they found that kids who did really well and kids who didn't do really well compared to their expectations weren't that significantly different in their happiness. But those who made really good friendships at school had a higher rate of happiness than those who spent their whole time studying and didn't make any connections. So this is kind of just a little PSA to let you know that whatever that thing is that you say, I'll be happy when, automatically it's not going to happen. You're not going to be happier when you get that thing, because then there'll just be another thing. So if at first you're like, oh, I'd be really happy if, I get that job. And then you get that job, and for the first little bit, you are a little bit happier. But then it becomes monotonous, and you're like, okay, well, now I want to get that promotion. And I won't be happy until I get that promotion. And so it just keeps stacking to the point where we're chasing something instead of appreciating what we have and building the things that will actually make us happy. So according to the class, there are a couple of things. Good quality connections, doing activities that make you happy, including, self-care and having hobbies, that kind of stuff. But usually people are like, oh, well, I'm going to buy myself that really nice pair of shoes and then I'll be happy. And the research shows that you'll be much happier if you spend that money on, for example, depending on how expensive the shoes are now, if you have, take one of your friends out for lunch, or if it was a really expensive pair of shoes, you could go away for a staycation somewhere, or go for like a one-night stay somewhere, or, book a pass to a amusement park or a national hiking trail or something like that. You'll be happier with the experiences rather than the things. So I know a lot of people, when they get out of high school, they're like, oh, I'll be happy when I graduate my program. And then when you graduate your program, you're like, oh, I'll be happy when I get that job that I want. And then you get the job and you're like, oh, I'll be happy when I buy a house. And then you get the house and there's always more things. There's always something else. So when I was a really little kid, I was like, I'll be happy when I get a dog. Now, it took me 21 years to get a dog. That's a whole other story. But I got her and I was really, really happy at first. And I still am about her. She's lovely. But then I was like, well, now I want another dog. And I'm like, I am happy and I love Kaya. Having another dog will not make me any happier. And I know that. It'll make Kaya happier. But I know that my state of happiness has no relation to the things that I get. And those of you that follow me, I did a lot of posts last year about decluttering and minimalism and all of that stuff. And if you saw my room before and after, you would be shocked. But I realized that I wear the same set of clothes most of the time. Those of you who I work with know that I have the set, it's like a summer set, a couple summer sets of clothes for work and a couple of winter sets of clothes. And most of the time that's what I'm wearing. I don't really wear any of my other clothes. Once in a while, I think last year I bought one pair of shorts and I love them. I wear them all the time. And now they're my favorite shorts. But for me, buying things will not make me happy, and it took me a long time to realize that. I mean, there's little things that can make life easier or more enjoyable, but in the long term, those things will not make you happy. So I know that's disappointing for a lot of people because they say, when I find my perfect partner or when I buy my dream house, then I'll be happy. But you're negating the fact that you can choose to be happy right now if you're more appreciative and grateful for the things that you already have, because you've worked so hard to get them already. And they used to be the things that when I get those things, I'll be happy, but now you have those. And instead of moving on to the next thing, you need to appreciate what you have and how hard you've worked to get there. So that's what's called hedonic adaptation, in the way that society has wired us to always want more and always want better. And that's not necessarily a bad thing in terms of ambition and going out there and working really hard and doing things that you love. But we have to find a way to find our happiness within instead of looking outside for those. So it's the same argument with finding your perfect partner. And there used to be a lot of songs actually about how the person wouldn't be complete until they find their perfect partner, and they'll be happy and satisfied when they meet that person. Instead of, I'm a complete person, they are a complete person, and when we meet, we're going to be a team and we're going to work together. So that's my rant. I hope that you found that interesting, because I know that when I first read it, it sounded logical. I was like, yeah, of course grades, they mean absolutely nothing right now because school was so long ago. But at the time, it seemed really important. So just know that the things that are important to you will shift, and nothing is as important as it seems. Kind of just have to, again, appreciate what you have. What's the word I'm looking for? Don't base your happiness on material objects, because they won't make you happy. Usually, I think the big three were family time, friendships, and doing something that makes you feel purposeful were the big three things that can make you happy. Money is not one of them. Grades, status, owning a lot of things, having a big house and a fancy car, those things will not make you happy. And if you don't believe me, you can watch the documentary The Minimalists, because one of them was really rich and had a big house and downsized completely because he realized that he was stuck in a job that gave him no purpose. He didn't like it anymore. But watch his story. Maybe you'll believe me then. But again, the course is The Science of Happiness from Yale. I highly suggest you go check it out. It's free. I think it's on Coursera, if I'm correct. But remember that you don't need to up the material material things that will make you happy. Those things will not make you happy. You have to be happy in here. Nothing out there is going to change that. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you later this week on Instagram.